Okay, so for those of you who are ready to move on to linear equations, I'm just going to do the first question of your worksheet here as an example so that you know how to do this. So our first question is 3u plus z equals 15, and then we also have u plus 2z equals 10. So let's write that on our sheet. 3u plus z equals 15, and u plus 2z equals 10. So in order to solve a problem with two variables, we need two equations in order to figure it out, because otherwise we won't be able to isolate our variable onto one side of the equal sign. So what we need to do here is we need to figure out what one of these variables equals, even if we don't get the full answer, so that we can translate it into the other variable. Let me show you what I mean. So let's first of all try and figure out what u is. All right, so we can use this first equation to help us solve that. So if I have 3u plus z equals 15, I'm going to try and get the u as close to by itself as I possibly can. Okay, so I can minus the z on both sides. That leaves me with 3u equals 15 minus z. Now I still have this times 3 in the way. So what I'll do is I will divide this side by 3 and divide this side by 3. So that leaves me with a u on this side. And then be careful here, because this is a subtraction sign and not a multiplication or division sign, we have to divide both of these by 3 separately. So 15 divided by 3 is 5, and z divided by 3, well, I don't know. So what I'll leave it as is minus z divided by 3. Okay, so now I have what u equals, even though it's not a total answer that gives me an exact number, I can figure out from there what u will equal by plugging it into this equation. So instead of writing u in this equation, I'm going to write 5 minus z over 3. Okay, so let's look at what that is. So I'll rewrite our known example down here just so that we can use it. Okay, so u plus 2z equals 10. All right, but now I'm going to rewrite it, and instead of writing u, I'll write 5 minus z over 3, because I figured out that that's what it means. So 5 minus z over 3 plus 2z equals 10. Now this is looking a lot more manageable because I have only one type of variable, right? So what I can do first of all here is, why don't I get rid of this 5, okay? So now I have minus z over 3 plus 2z equals 5. All right, so now I've got this, I still have this times 3, that's a little bit awkward, or this, sorry, divided by 3, that's a little awkward, so why don't I get rid of that so that I'm just looking at a z, okay? So I'll multiply both sides by 3 because it's divided by 3. Okay, and be careful here again, because this is a plus sign. It's not a division sign and it's not a times sign. So I have to multiply this and this separately. So that leaves me with negative z, right? Plus, 2 times 3 is 6. So 6z equals 5 times 3, 15. Okay, so now I have negative z, or minus z, plus 6z equals 15. All right, so now I can simplify this. Instead of saying 6z minus z, I can just say, well, that's 5z's equals 15. And now this is looking really manageable. 5 times z equals 15. Well, we'll divide by 5, and we have z equals 3. Now that we know what our z equals, it's really easy just to plug it into one of our original equations and figure it out. So we could use either one. Let's use this first one. So 3u plus z equals 15. All right, so that gives us 3u plus, instead of z, we'll write 3 because we know it now. 3u plus 3 equals 15. And we'll go minus 3, minus 3. That leaves us with 3u equals 12. We'll divide both sides by 3. And that gives us u equals 4. Okay, and as always, it's best to circle your answers so that it's easy to find on the page. So we have z equals 3 and u equals 4. And if we want to check that, we can just plug those into one of our initial equations and see if we got it right. Okay, that's always a way you can check in algebra. So instead of writing u, we'll write 3 what's u? U is 4 times 4 plus, what's z, plus 3 equals 15. And what I was doing there is just using this equation. And instead of writing z and u, I'm just plugging in my numbers, right? So 3 times 4 plus 3 equals 15. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 3 equals 15. Is that true? Yes, that is true, because 12 plus 3 equals 15, and that leaves us with 15 equals 15. So we know we figured it out correctly.